Hello, guten Tag. This is Gabriel and Icon of the Charity Medical Foundation for Medical, Pharmaceutical, and Innovative Technology. I am so glad to be alive today, Saturday. What time I have? About 6 o'clock. I always make my presentations about this time, and I would like to thank people for being tuned into this. Some people get access, some people do not, depending on how people view the word. The thing of the heaven has never been popular in this world. I went to watch The Truth yesterday, the movie of about Jesus Christ rising, Yeshua, and there was only a few people. The reasons why it's just the way this world is. So that was my observations. I don't know, there were more people maybe before me, but I just observed that we live in a world where it is when we get to the end of our miserable life that we start calling on God. And that is something that I have to address, because as a true believer of God, I feel pain. I feel pain that a country like this that God have blessed, they don't prioritize God as they're supposed to. They might call me from Africa, from not part of here. I don't give a damn. When I follow God, I will say what is right. Because at the end, we're all going to die and leave this earth to the next generation. This is not about us, me talking to you down, because as I know nothing. What I do know, I do what God told me to do. You're going to say, what kind of fairy tale is this? Well, I can invite you to have a prayer. Maybe you can feel the Holy Spirit. Maybe then you can believe. I'm not somebody who's out there who's going to try to go and tell you stop because I want to make money out of this. I don't get paid, but I use this for my company. The point that I'm making here is that you're living in a system of people who do evil behind the scene and come in front of the television to try to show that they're good. If you know that one day your time gonna come into this earth, you need to start looking in for the spiritual dimension. The revelation that God told me again and again to Jesus Christ, He said to me to tell you, there will be no human completion without the spiritual dimension. There will be no human completion without a spiritual dimension. This message He's using countless people, poor people, trash people, like He called them, to pass His message, because that's how He wants people to know Him. If you are there, you're neglecting what I'm saying, you're going to find the truth when you go to the other world. If you may excuse me. I know how the afterlife is. I know what hell look like. I know how heaven look like. You don't know. You only see what you can see because you don't have the eyes of your faith open, because your faith is not pure. Then you cannot see what cannot be seen with your naked eyes only. I don't talk down to you. I'm not the savviest person in this world, but if I am using my gift to serve humanity, it should not be a matter of ego or a matter of self-impositions. I'm not here to impose myself. I'm here to do what I was made to do by the Creator, Yahweh. So my point is this. Do you believe you're going to live in this earth forever? Because there is no time that people say, okay, I have an appointment this morning. I have an appointment in March around 10 o'clock. And somebody put, I will die in March around 10 o'clock. Do you know somebody who have that kind of schedule? Nobody know. So if you don't, you need to start looking for God. God told me, the second segment, people will be judged with the quality of love for others and their relationship with Him. Those are the two things that will make you return to where your spirit derived from. If you lack love for others and you don't have a personal relationship with God, I don't care if He's using the Holy Spirit or Jesus Christ or directly to God, your chances of returning to heaven are very low. Those are the two things you have to know. Therefore, the topic of today's presentation is the enigma of the dimensionality difference. Because I have to speak, I have to lay out what is it that sees people to identify what is truth and what is not truth. Because what is truth in our humanistic fashions is determined by what we can see and what we can feel, what the flesh can respond into, compared to what is not, or what the flesh cannot respond into. What is alive here can be dead in a different dimension, and what is alive in a different dimension can be dead in these dimensions. So what is the dimensionality, the enigma of the dimensionality difference? It is what made all of this a complicated matter for some people. Every dimension that exists have a substance in which all life depend on. And all those substances per dimension are different. It does not mean that they do not exist. It's just that the substance are chemically different from the one that we are using here or we know. If you go into upper science and upper technology, you will understand that there is a science that is above our science, which is a spiritual science, in which our science derives from. And they are particles that are not matter, but that are light, that exist in a specific dimension. And they function well. They have life like we do. They have food like we do. But all of that are composed of that specific substance that is identified in that dimension. The substance that we have in this dimension is matter. We are made of matter. That start with an atoms that composed molecules that compose cells, and cells that compose tissues, and tissues that all come together to form an organ with all the other tissue of the other organ comes together to form a system, and all those systems all come together to form a uniform system, and that uniform system become inherited with the soul that God put in you, so that you are called a human being. Do you know why death is not a surprise for me? That I'm not scared of death, not just by talking. Because I know where I'm going. To be honest with you, I mean, I even want God to take me out so I can go over there and do my position that is awaiting me 70 years from now. Because I'm tired, I'm sick about this world with the way people just don't want to open their heart. I don't mind, but I don't know about you. You see, the problem is that people are scared of death. Somebody die, everybody's like, God is the only one who give life and who take life. If you know any other God who created the universe, maybe I am delusional. But if I'm right, that there's only one God who created, and his name is El Elehon, which means that the source of everything. Elohim, which means the creator from all those sources. And Yahweh means the God of relationship with the thing that he created. So I can give you the definition of it. You go to anything, it's going to be there. I can declare that I know him personally. Do you? If you don't, you find somebody who do. It's called humility. You see, a society in which people were educated not to lower themselves because of the potential that they believe they're in. Who gave that potential to you? It's God. He was the Roman yesterday. It was the French yesterday. It was the Russian yesterday. It was the German yesterday. It was the British yesterday. Today is the United States. Tomorrow it might be something else. Don't rely on that. You don't know God's plans. Look history. You haven't believed that a country have, since God created human being, one country stand there forever? We all wish that the United States stand forever. But that's not God's plan. He have plans. He have plan too. Because when you guys say, no, I don't have time for it. Yeah, God also have plan too. Because it's always suitable when you say you don't have time for God. And when God says, I also have plan too, you get mad. Why do God want to move, take another country to be president? He also have plan too. You want to go, when they start talking about God thing, you say, oh, that's a bullshit. And then now, tomorrow, you're going to start looking why God do that. You don't believe that your prayer could have made a difference? That God can look like that from his throne and say, let me look this tiny planet and look and identify an individual in one country that you can count on and say, okay, because of that individual, I can stand for America. You don't think that one individual can make a difference in God's eyes? You be mistaken. God will prefer one person to come to heaven than millions that are not faithful. Why? Because you have a backup plan. So let me lay out the backup plan. The backup plan that God put in place is this. It's very simple. You go to the process. If you mixed up in one presentation, you got another one. until you come back to your senses. That's the backup plan of God. That's why I call him the great, because that's very, very clever. I mean, he created the spirit, and he said to the spirit, before you reach me to be like me, you're going to go through a process of million years, in which I derive your meta DNA. That's spiritual science. And then from that meta DNA, you're going to have a lot of deriving genome, human genome. You come and mixed up, you're going to come be remiss. So God don't bother nothing. You see, the point is this. The other religion are talking about reincarnations, but they are not explaining it well. They are mixing it with plants and animal and thing. I'm not criticizing what they said, but what I'm saying, I'm clarifying it, because there's certain truth in what they say, but the way they're explaining it is not correct. They try to explain it in human way. God created spirit. What lives in you is the soul, because it lives in you. It is a spirit that lives in you, so it's called a soul, because it is a typical representation of you, of that specific era and time, in that specific family and father and mother. Now, when people talking about animals, you will be remiss to an animal or plant. That's not correct, because animals don't have spirit. There's no correlations. Plants don't have spirit. There's no correlations. You can only work with things that have the same language or the same structure. So that make their hypothesis, their ideology not true. Then you stay only with human being coming into a different personality, but with the same spirit. I mean, he's going to have the same character. So what God did, God gave gift to every single one of us in a spiritual realm. That is in the primordial fault, the beginning when he started the process. So he gave that gift, so that gift can be polished and become great to reach his spiritual dimension, which is the seventh dimensions, so that you can serve him in that dimensions. So many of us that live here, you are on a journey of perfections. You just don't know it. That's why Jesus Christ is, don't waste your time with the thing of this earth. It's just waste of time. Because you mixed up, you'll be remiss until your spirit get closer and closer to perfections. The problems that Lucifer is put in place is that he wanted to delay your process to perfections. So what he did, he said, okay, if I mixed up every single stone, it means that he's going to have to do more stone before he reached that perfections. That's what he's doing. So less people reaching spiritual perfection, less people God can count on. Because trust me, God cannot count on anyone who don't reach that level. It is what it is. But I see people, I'm here to tell you the truth. It is not something that I'm inventing or something that I try to do or something that I try to like in imaginations. That's why you have to do good. when you have that opportunity in every single lifetime. Because if you don't, and they look your level of travel and your spiritual journey, and they see that you still lack a lot to be done, you got to be remiss. And what do they do in the spiritual science? They remove your previous consciousness. They wipe it out. It means that they wipe it out in your consciousness, in your that portion of your spirit is not gone, because it is in the fabric. That's the reason why the spiritual world is so advanced. They have people who work over there for stuff like that. When you will pass from this world, you will know who you are. They'll tell you. If you listen to what I'm saying, you're going to say, I heard this stuff from a guy and I neglected it. Because what I'm telling you is true. They're going to tell you who you are and what is next. And what is next is pretty much unknown to you, because that is God's thing. He's got thing with his plan. You have a backup plan. That's the reason why God will always win at the end. So it's a message for those who came here, who are wasting this lifetime, believing that they're doing it to please, to impress people. You got to impress God. Because what happens is that if you do your life based on the thing of this earth, you are distancing yourself from the heaven and from God. If you do that, what will happen is very clear. You're going to be doing stuff that are not lovely. You're going to have a lower relationship with God. And when that happens, the heaven and hell are only there to grade your lifetime. Each occurrences. That is one of the positive effects of it, of heaven and hell. The second aspect of heaven and hell is to bring generation together in heaven. Because in hell is individual. But in heaven, it brings generation together. And grade every single lifetime occurrence. So when you see a baby coming into your life, you don't know where it comes from. You don't actually know the history unless you have spiritual eyes. They don't tell you who he used to be and what baggage he came into this life. Then you can help him develop. Most people that are very advanced in our society, they guide the kids because they know those information. They guide the kid. They know who the kid are. Because they will tell them, your kid, when he used to exist, this is what he did, this is what he did, he was not too good like this, that in the previous life. They can only go so far. I believe 7. And after that, they don't have any access. So they can tell you this is the residual he brought into this lifetime. He's a kid. He's very small. He's a baby. He's like an innocent, but when you look, he's a person. And they have to start guiding him, making sure those people who are very successful, they guide the kids who have the money and who have access to spiritual dimension and teachings. And told exactly what is his true gift to be used in this world. But unfortunately, you have 95% of people who are poor. The more poor you are, the more likely you worry more about your belly. And yes, indeed, you can call God's name in vain because you're suffering. But truly, many don't mean that name right. The gift that you have is an eternal gift. If God made you a singer, you have the quality of singing in every of your existence because that gift was meant to be polished and to be used in a higher dimension. Like everybody that you saw as leaders that you have ever seen before, all those people that you see as leaders who became leaders, those are the gifts that were given in all their lives, the existence. Somehow they have worked into those line of work because that's the gift that God is looking to polish. So it comes to what? You define what God made you for and you become good at it. That's what you do. Because that's what matters. And you try to build love for even your enemy. If what I say, you just read the Bible, people say God, Jesus Christ was talking about love and love a lot. Because you will be judged by love and your personal relationship with God. If you don't have a personal relationship with God, you'll be distant. Not only you think you fully shame this existence is beyond vanity. Because what gonna happen to you if you don't have you lack love and you lack any personal relationship with God? What gonna happen to you? You don't gonna go to heaven. Period. I'm not God, but I can tell you. If you don't study, don't expect to pass any test. Which is very simple. But over there is very truth. You mean that if you don't study, you don't gonna pass. There's no chance. Maybe I might have 10% of chance. No, you don't. You must have love one another. You have to exhibit love in everything you do. You have to build a great relationship with the divine God who is above, and then you will consider. But what will happen to somebody who lack both of those things? You're not gonna end up in heaven. You're gonna end up in hell. Not only you will end up there, but you're gonna have a more longer time of remiss into your eternal journey. People are gonna ask, well, what do God do? Why do God do this? It is a process. Because eternal life have a lot of technology. Eternal life give you access to knowledge. I mean, in eternity, what money is, like I say, in this dimension is matter. In the dimension in which God is, the spiritual dimension, it is more knowledge. Knowledge is like money. So when you have that knowledge, you have access to infinite knowledge. You have access to things that you could have never imagined you do. You can create things just like that. Solution, you're looking for solution of something, it comes right away. So let's say you have somebody who have bad intention and have not reached that high level or be qualified to be graded well to go to heaven. He's going to use that knowledge in a very evil way. And in the dark world, he's gonna add himself into those dark energy out there to inspire people to do evil here in this earth. So it works for our advantage to reduce the number of people who do stuff like that. I just pray the people not to be part of conspiracy, of gossiping. You got to be able to stand for the truth and say, no, I am not doing this. Because you will be saving yourself if you do not reject the pressure from the system. You cannot follow God with the truth. Because the way God functions is different from the way a thing functions here. There are things that they're going to ask you to do that are not good things. For materialism to promote or to engage in a certain gain, it is a waste. My friend, I just explained to you. You lack love and lack truthful relationship with God. You are dimming yourself into a situation in which you see people coming in this world with malformality, people coming in this world with many things. You don't know what they have done in the past life. Because the way God has placed this universe, He put the law of harmony and the law of equilibrium. Because that is the only way things can be balanced and harmony can be exhibited to see things the way they are. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you see the sun. You go at night, you see that. Those are not things that happen by magic. It is a process. Because many people, they just wake up in good bed, they don't even look the nature. How do this be? How will I be part of this? How do I am part of this? You're part of that. You're part of that. The spiritual realm control this world. The spiritual science control this world. Spiritual technology control this world. The study I made and the divine inspiration I had and have, the distance between your soul and my soul is zero. I don't care where you are. You can be in China. You can be in any country. If you take the distance between your soul and my soul, it's going to be zero. People are going to say, how's that? Because dimensionality difference. In this world is physical. In the other world, it is homogeneous. What does that mean? It means that spiritually we are all connected to the same thing. Spiritually, we are all connected to the same thing, to the same uniformic spiritual system. So when you hurt somebody, you hurt the entire system spiritually. And it must be compensated so that harmony can be exhibited. That's what Jesus Christ said. Who use the soul will die by the soul. Because it is the law of equilibrium. That's what it is. That's why I want people to be aware, to be careful. When you hurt somebody here, it can hurt somebody else. Because we are all part of the same spiritual system. Physically, we seem to be separate, but we are part of that hyper consciousness. I can stay here spiritually and communicate with somebody over there in China using the hyper subconsciousness, using that system. Because in a spiritual realm, it is like very close. Even not, I mean, it's like the same, like the person is just right there. You have to know when you hurt someone in this dimension, you are affecting the entire homogeneous structure of the uniformic spiritual dimension in which you are part of. You must know that. And we are part, our spirit is part of this entire universe. As you see that standing, there is not completion of this world without a spiritual dimension. This universe is not held only by the physical mathematics and this is only for matter. Our knowledge is only based on matter. You have to know that our knowledge is only based on matter. Our knowledge is not based on substances of other dimensions, because we don't live in those dimensions. So, because if you look the Bible, God said, because my way, or the heaven, because the heaven, let me put it right, because the heaven is higher than earth, so my way. So it means that, what does that mean? It means a lot of things. It means that the spiritual science he used is higher than our science. The spiritual technology that he used is higher than our technology. So, because he's the one who created all that we can see physically, and he's from the spiritual world, and he's a spirit, it means that his technology support what is seen. Even though that it is unseen, it means our dimension rely on a spiritual dimension to exist. So you cannot say that when you hurt someone physically, you don't mix up the entire spiritual structure. You do. That's what God said love is the first thing, because love is the only thing that can exhibit harmony into his work. And relationship with him. Only two things though. Only two things. But those two things are so hard for human in a degree that you have no clue. To exhibit love is very tough. Why? Because men have to deal with the flesh first, which is a self problem. They have to deal with the environment, and they have to deal with Satan. So imagine every single one of us have to deal with those three things. Why you wonder the problem around this word? It's all factual. Every single one have to deal with three things. The self, ego, it means that the flesh. They have to deal with the environment. They have to deal with Satan. So you have three negative things that is pounding on every single human being. Why are you wondering why we have so much differences in evil thing around? Do you see what kind of work God has? Which is minuscule in its level, but it is considerable when it comes into eternal salvation. When you come into eternal salvation, it becomes something to look into. It is very serious. It is something that I want people to know. Do not look at God at the end of your days in this earth. You are fooling yourself. You think that you're doing things for God, but you're doing things your own journey, because God laid out the plan. The journey is out there. How would you? And by the way, the return of Jesus Christ will not change it. It's still gonna be. The only difference with the return of Jesus Christ is that it will reduce people length into the journey, because they're going to be using universal laws that Jesus Christ is going to put in place. So he's going to shut down people journey. They're going to do less sins. People are going to be doing less sins. No sin at all. So if you do no sin at all, your journey is going to be very straight. Like Jesus Christ. He came in one lifetime. I don't know what order. He completed his spiritual journey. And God placed him where? In throne. It is the same thing God want to do with every single one of us. Not to give you his position, but what the gift that you possess. If you're a mathematician, you're going to be doing mathematics over there in a higher level. If you're an astronaut, you're going to be working in an astrology system over there with airplane that change dimension to other dimension, airplane that can go faster than the speed of light 1,000,000 times. If you are a singer, you're going to be singing choir, inspiring people. Like angelic beings sing. You never saw those angelic beings sing. Nobody can imitate them because they're so good. If you're a leader, let's say president, and then you end up into that right path, you're going to be walking into area of leadership over there, like close to the throne, like working with the people of power, people of the cherubim, the seraphim, going back into the virtues, and even the thrones and the dominions. Sure, those are closer to the throne of God. Those are very heavy, powerful angels. Though, when you see a cherubim and seraphim and the thrones, those have 6 wings. They're not typically, I mean, you see them, you know this is something I don't want to play with. They have 2 wings that don't touch, so the foot don't touch the floor. They have to be pure. When God made it out, I mean, they don't touch even the floor to enter his throne. Then they have 2 wings, like regular angels that you guys know, that everybody knows, and they have 2 other wings to cover their face so that they don't see those crazy stuff like sex stuff and those anything that's evil, so they don't see it with their eyes. So that's why they have those 6 wings. Will that tell you who God is now? You gotta believe that it's so easy to get there. It's easy, but it's not easy for the flesh. We know that. If God have to say to angels, I'm giving you 2 wings to put your foot on, over, so that you don't get any impurity, to get in close to my throne. And I'm giving you another 2 additional 2 wings so that you can cover your face. When, let's say, they go to the movie with you, and the thing that they're seeing it's not good, they don't gonna look at it. They cover the face. That's what they do. And you're gonna tell people, well, God is too good. And you don't know God. He's too good, but He's good comes with a price. The price is the mission. The price is the mission. The thing that I want people to know is that never try to work against a person that Jesus Christ is with. You're going to lose. I know this world system can come after you because everybody is mixed up. So they also want you to be mixed up. The normality is people in pain. When you're not in pain, the way they want it, your life is too good. So they have to put pain there. That is the way they want it. Not the way God wants to put pain. But the kind of pain God allows is to fortify the individual and to make you stronger. When the pain that they wanted to put in you, is to destroy you, is to make you weak. When actually God might be using that to make you stronger. So don't be part of this thing that are not part of you. What is that you can follow in this world that will give you happiness? I'm not here to vouch for people to go watch the movie of Jesus Christ or Yeshua, but I'm here to remind you, it is your final destination. Let me tell you why it is your final destination for every human being. It means when you're gonna get into your entrance, they're gonna be like, you going to this or you going to that because of Jesus Christ. There's no other two way. And I believe that if you have not faced life transformation yet, maybe your life is just too easy. There is no human completion. I will reiterate this again. There is no human completion without spiritual dimensionality. I mean, if you walk in the spirit, God will not waste his gift. I mean, the reason why of the reincarnation is that God don't want to waste any spirit, because they are very valuable into the stand of this universe. That's why. Because in a spirit, thing cannot be destroyed so easily like human disappears, gone. But the spirit is an energy. It is a substance that have an eternal fabric, eternal essence into its fabric. It is more a powerful substance than the matter. That is alive in that dimensions. Then you got to know that. You have to know that. The reason why he have implemented that process is because when the spirit is created, it is not easy to destroy. So the best process is to put it into this core in which we are, to polish it. He first intended by using angel to guide us, knowing the two binary outcome. He saw if they act like this is what's gonna happen. If they act like this is what's gonna happen. So he had two possibilities. We choose the other possibility in which we wanted to learn by curiosity, and then we choose that, which is the painful one. Then he brought Jesus Christ into the picture to help us ease that pain, dealing with the three negative energy around us: our flesh, the environment, and Satan. How many times the environment influence your decision? When I'm talking about environment, I'm talking about you're looking at your neighbors, you're looking at your friend, they're doing this, they're doing that, I got to do that too, or this, and they're influencing you, they're telling you stuff, you know, and you kind of bombarded with all form of energy, negative thought, and then now that information go into your mind, and then you start dealing with your own ego and old flesh. You don't understand what it is. The reflection of it is something else, and Satan is there telling you, yes, do it. No, don't do it. Yeah, do it. I mean, you kind of like, and that's why people are sometimes confused. That's why you need Jesus Christ to help you. Well, somebody gonna say, since you've been having Jesus Christ, what kind of help you had? Well, let me respond to you. It is written. You cannot relate Jesus Christ with material things. The help I'm talking here is the transformation help. It means the help from within. Because if you have a good inner self, everything else can follow good. Even material thing. But if you don't have a pure and divine inner self, all that is given will not be used efficiently. Because there's no divine wisdom into it. So you got to seek for Jesus Christ who can help you. I'm advising people to go and watch the movie called Reason. I'm not a fanatic of the heaven, but I'm here to speak the truth. That will change the way you view life. I didn't went there to be changed. I went there to verify the information I already had. These are two different things. I don't function in the same level here. Because this is how you grow into knowledge. You accumulate data, and you find the difference between those data, and take that difference and see if that difference has any significance. And if it does, you add it into your existing knowledge and fortify your knowledge. That's how you do. I don't take my time and go and sit down and movie for no reason. I don't like to do that either. But it's necessary if you want to grow. So this story, I want people to go. The reason why I'm saying this is because the thing that you guys don't know, that the heaven also inspired me to say, kid that die at the age less than 6, we didn't have a proper consciousness of knowing Jesus Christ in this earth. This is the first thing they do to them. When they arrive into heaven, for those who goes into heaven, because you have a lot of kids too in hell as well. When they have the age of consciousness of knowing what is wrong and what is bad, God considered them as responsible for the untaught. So when they go to heaven, the first thing they show them is the life of Jesus Christ. It is all about Him, my friend. It is your only connections into the spiritual world. You can use many routes. You can use other route on other way, but it will come back to that. Why do they have to show those kids a movie about Jesus Christ? They don't show a movie like a recording tape. No, they show His actual life. It means that when you live in this earth, like as mentioned earlier, the uniformic spiritual structure, it is not just a simple structure. It is a higher level spiritual technology structure that record every single move that you do, even if you do it 10,000 miles deeper into the ocean. It recorded. So when you pass, when you die, as you go into that tunnel, that is like a holographic and solitonic, like images, you see your life as like a movie screen, when actually it will be different than the movie because it will be reality. I mean, they will show you everything that you've been doing. Even when you were stealing stuff and looking around thinking people were not seeing you, you'll be laughing as you go. No, you'll not be laughing, you'll be like, damn. Unfortunately, it's already counted. It's like somebody already counted, grade you, and they keep saying damn. It's already graded, my friend. There's a damn there. The only thing you gotta put to your mind, I hope the end is good. That's all. I mean, when they grade you, you're only looking for the final grade. That's account at that point. Because you're going to see us, that's the only thing you got to worry about. You'll be like, I really mixed up here. By the time you get over there, I mean, you go and you see that movie. So they're showing those kids the life of Jesus Christ using that same technology. A life. I'm not talking about a movie that they made over there about his life. No. They're showing that fabric, that technology. So those kids saw the life of Jesus Christ before they can proceed into the journey into heaven. Why do they do that? Because they want those kids. They will have loved those kids to know, to go to the life experiment and know Jesus Christ in their life. That's why. So if you live in this earth, you don't study who Jesus Christ is and try to find out who He is. I mean, don't be mad at God when you end up into that lake. I just hope don't be mad at God if you end up into that lake. Because many people go over there, they spend all the time cursing God, like God have something to do with the decision they made. Back then, I thought maybe they have some reasoning to it. And I realized no. God created everyone with their to make the choice. It means we are responsible to make that destiny happen. It is different than saying we are responsible for our own destiny. It is very different. Those are two different words. We are responsible to make that destiny happen. We are responsible to make that destiny happen. Why? Because God is still in control. So when you make a decision, you determine where your next move will be. As you can well determine not to make something that you know is consciously not good. So when you end up in hell, you got to start looking what you truly did wrong, that you have too many chances to remedy and you refuse. See, that's why God gave a lot of years in this in people's lifetime, so people can remedy the wrong. So the other thing that people don't know about God is that when you remedy your wrong, God is capable of giving you extra years. If your lifespan was probably 80 and God know that now this person is tending in my path, then I will use his gift that I gave him. So he look, oh, okay, he's supposed to die at the age of this. So okay, God say, okay, I will extend it another 25 years or 30. Because that's good. I will use him. God have that ability. So when you are here, you follow God and things are tough. And people come in place and say, well, life is, you know what, God is allowing this to happen. First, God will allow things that he hate the most to achieve things that he loved the most. Do you think that God was happy to see how Jesus Christ was pierced and nail was put in there? You see a very big nail. I mean, go watch the movie Reason. You see that nail. That movie, the way they made it is exceptional. It is different from what you have seen before. It's really not like the story of Jesus Christ, but it is a drama movie, investigation, and how the reality was with the system that many people follow today, thinking quote that system is right. Do you believe that is a different system? It's just different generations. And I can guarantee you, when by the time Jesus Christ returns, this earth is gonna go back to the same system, a unified world. A unified world. You're gonna go back to that unified world. You're gonna go back to that unified world in which Jerusalem will become hostage like it used to be during Jesus Christ's time. Then that will be where he will come in place. The same cycle going to repeat itself. But when that time arrives, that's what you're going to see. Just give a shot. Give a shot. Many of us believe that by working hard, try to take things in our own mind, hand, we can solve all our problems. No. Or having the deal, having a great deal, having a this and that. If you have not faced a problem yet in your life. Maybe life is very kind with you. You will face challenge. Every single one of us, God said to me, like you see, you have spring and you have summer. And while you have summer, you have fall. And fall, you have winter. There is no day without night, and there is no night without day. A thing are made, except in which where I am. It means spiritual realm is all light. So you cannot have good day in your life without having bad days. That's what he was saying. So if you're there, things are going well a little bit. I'm not jealous of you, I'm just telling you the truth. You have to be prepared that bad will happen. And the bad that's going to happen will be equivalent to the good that happened. Because you have to be tested. If you have billion, you're going to have multi-million dollar problems. Because that's the ratio of test. If you have $10, you're going to have $8 problems. If you have none money, you're going to have problems that are none. Pretty much, you still don't going to have anything. Which is challenging, isn't it? For what? You see that guy who spent 20 years in the street into Gotham became a host radio station dude. 20 years in the street begging money. So you want to tell me that God didn't know that he does exist? The point that people don't know about God is that he has seen the future. He have not experienced the future yet because he have to go into the unfolding process. So he do all the chess game based on the last result. He do all the chess game based on the last result. Most of us we spend our time looking at the present situation when God is looking at your future. How can you get out of there? I said to somebody today when I was running, I said, because you don't have the eyes of your heart open, you cannot see the angel that are behind you. He said that's a lie. I want to say something to you, very clever advice, that if somebody said to you, you're crazy, that's something you can say, that's a lie, I'm not. Because you know for sure who you are. You're not crazy. If somebody said you cannot see the angel that are behind you because your heart, the eyes of your heart are not open, don't say it's a lie. That's being fool. Let me tell you, when you look, you don't see no one, isn't it? So if you don't see anyone, you have to believe that somehow something might be wrong with me. Then it comes to the point, if you do believe in God or not. If you don't believe in God, I understand you. So there are people who don't. If you believe in God, that would be then, in conclusion, be foolish. There's nothing that come of God that you have to say is a lie. It is the worst mistake a man can do, can make. Calling God thing a lie because you can't see it. Look what Jesus Christ said to Thomas. Blessed be those who have believed without seeing it, than those who wanted to see it before they believe. There's that guy. He went to climb at the Tribune Clavius because it was an investigation scene. People don't know what happened in the story. That general wrote the story of his life experience, what he have experienced when Jesus Christ resurrected from death. He was put in charge of finding the body. That's something that is not detailed, but it is something, the book that he wrote, his experience, his own story. People found it and made that movie Rising. The guy didn't believe in the bodyguard that was guarding the tomb, that the light came from. They think those guys became drunk. They could not understand. You see, that's what technology, every era have its own technology. I understand the reason why those guys became crazy, because they could, that technology was so advanced. It's like God bring in this generation right now in 2016, God bring us a technology of 3000, year 3000. We gonna, people, some of us gonna be crazy. Some of us gonna become crazy. We don't gonna understand it because there's too much gap. So those bodyguard, they became drunk. They become like crazy people. They start making story because they wanted to link it into a human understanding. They start talking about the high support of Jesus Christ came and stole the body, and 8 of them moved that heavy stone because they could not understand. They start drinking. So what I'm saying, if you cannot see something, do not mean that that thing is not true. So when he came too much finding and killing people, execution over execution, ordered by the leader of that time, Tiberius, through Ponce Pilate, that the Bible think I wash my hand, that was not true. The same system. We have to protect the government, the system. He knew he washed his hand, but in the same time, he wanted him to be dead, because he didn't understand him like we do today. He saw him as a threat to Rome. That's what it is. So when you see the same system working along, using you to do stuff that are not right, you go ahead and do it because you're afraid. You will not be close to God. You have to look what God thinks first about that thing. When you find out, you follow that. You follow what God thinks about that thing, and you follow it, regardless of if you get crucified or not by the system. So you have many people who are not willing to do that. It's too much. Why do I sacrifice? I'm not Jesus Christ. No one wants you to be Jesus Christ. But what you're missing in your doctrine is that Jesus Christ is not the end of your life have to end. Or the beginning of your life have to end. After Jesus Christ, people still came up, more women still give birth and life continue. Earth turn and move on. What do that mean? It means God wants people to live. And God do stuff with purpose. What is the purpose of Jesus Christ? Is to show an example to human being how to live. You mean you live according to Jesus Christ's standards. So what is it that people having problems? And I say to somebody today, oh, this person feel pain a lot. This person feel pain. I say, yes, I understand you. But let me say something to you with all respect. If God wanted that person to die, he should have been gone. But he's still alive. Why? Because God has opened a path for men to pray so that he can cure that person. It is something that many people are missing. They don't understand. They go to church, those pastors sucking up your money. Well, people have to understand. I don't like to be a pastor. I might have the divine gift, but I will use it different way. Alright? That's how God made me. My gene inside is just made this way. And people can say they are pastor, they have inspiration, but they cannot call upon the Holy Spirit. So what I'm saying here is that when somebody is in the hospital or the person feel any pain, do not say, well, I'm waiting for that person to die because this is not a good life. If that person is still alive, it's because God is waiting for people that are around him to pray. But people do not do that. Because if God wants to take your life, well, you have one pain is enough. Okay, I take you. That's enough. But you see people 5 years later, he's still having the same pain, the same situation. He's still, why? Because God wants people to be transformed around him. So people can say, okay, we have tried all the technology we have, it doesn't work. Let's try something. We know we lose nothing. Just pray a couple minutes. Because God can change that disease in 1 second. He can transform. He can heal that person in 1 second. In 1 second. I still do believe in a healing process that Jesus Christ have done in the Bible, as well as Peter and any other like Philip and any other disciple who follow him. I saw in that movie Rising, you see Jesus Christ, after he rose from the dead. He cured another person before he left. In front of that tribune. Tribune is equal to a general. He was in charge of finding Jesus Christ's body. Because they were bounded by the Pharisee. It means that the Jew system, they want that Jesus Christ to be really gone. They were pounding Ponce Pilate every single time. But Ponce Pilate was also pounded by Tiberius, who was coming in town. He had to clean the town. So he put pressure on that general to find that body. So but what he saw was something that he cannot connect with the technology of the time. How come you kill somebody? You saw that person dead, but you see that person alive with the same wound you put on him. He could not understand it. So he become transformed. He said, a subtle thing I cannot explain. I killed somebody, I saw him, and then I saw him again when Mary Magdalene said to him, open the eyes of your heart and you see. And then when he opened it, he was able to see Jesus Christ. So I'm saying to people, if you open the eyes of your heart, you will see things that you have never seen before, things that you never imagined that are around. It is another word, parallel to our word. It's just word parallel. We have to be lovely. I just have hope that Jesus Christ can come from the sky so that people can say, no, but if Jesus Christ does that, people will not be transformed because of the self-transformation. They will be transformed because of what they have seen before they become transformed. That's not the true transformation. So people have to go through the process of enduring suffering. Like I said, if you have summer here, you're gonna have fall, and then when you have fall, you're gonna have winter, and then winter you have spring. You have day and you have night. So when you have good in your life, bad will come, will follow, so forth and so forth. It just go like that, bad and then good and then bad, into you die. You're never gonna see any human being who have done all this life and say, I only have one problem in my life. That's a lucky destiny. Well, lucky destiny, truly. One problem all my life. If you see a human being like that, please keep me posted. I'm gonna get some wisdom from him. But if you don't, that I believe there's no one. Life go like this: day, night, night, day, day, night, 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 day, 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 night, night. I mean, you have problems, they go away. Our problem come, go away a while. You have some ease, and then other problem come, and then light, and then problems and darkness, 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 problems, and then darkness, darkness, and then light, 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 light. Why do God made it like that? Because he wants people to call for the spiritual dimension. Because he know they will never be human fulfillment without the spiritual dimension. And the flesh is a mechanism, a humanistic mechanism in which, in thought, it cannot be self-transformed. It got to go into a process of challenge. It means painful situations. Because painful situations lead into self-resolve. And self-resolve that pertain into the logic of the heaven will lead into self-transformations. It is something that people must follow. It means if a person is born and the person never have any problem, the state in which he was born will be the same state in which he will leave this earth. No transformations at all. So you got to have this process. But if you understand the spiritual dimension, you will find the meaning behind the day and night. Because even during the good time, there is a meaning for it. Remember, if you look the story of Joseph of Egypt, when he was able to interpret the dream of the Pharaoh, Ra, of the time, say, the 7th day of good was not just a 7th day of good or pleasure. God don't do stuff like that. The 7th day of good was to save for the other 7th day of bad. So when things are going well for you, you have to be prepared for the storm. Because it will come. And it will come in the same. And then what God made, seven years of bad and 7 years of good. Why? Harmony in everything God does. Balance. And it makes sense. If you are not challenged in the way in which equilibrium can be found, there is iniquity in your challenge. If you have $1 billion, God cannot challenge you with thousands of dollars. That's not equity. That is favorism. God have to challenge you with $1 billion too. So that you stay like this and look the money and say, I have nothing. Truly. And start looking up. Because nobody can help. Well, I have $1 million, I have $1,000 payment. Well, I can pay that. God gonna look and say, who I am then here? Nobody gonna even look at God. I mean, everybody can solve his own problems. He have to place $1 million. You know, people go to Kanye West and say, he have $53 million debt. He make about 112 if his wife alone together. That's more than half. That's a challenge. We all have debt. We all have debt. Even America have, America is the richest country around the world, and also the richest, the highest country in debt. It is the challenge. It's how God works. You tell me any other country that have $1 trillion debt in this world? No one, except us. Why? Because God measured it based on the capacity. So when you're there, you still growing up and believe that, well, I'm never going to be able to make this kind of mistake. I believe I will do this. Those are speculations. The reality is that the chances of that happening, maybe not. Because as you go into this unfolding life, you don't remain with the same parameter from time 0. From time 0 plus 1, or I, from 1 to infinity, you're going to have additional parameter that will come along in your life and challenge your progress as you go. But if you climb a mountain, the wind that you're going to have in the lower level will not be the same speed in the middle level, or when you reach the top, close to the top. If you use the same strategy as you used when you were down there, you're going to fail. So you got to adapt and change. It's the same thing in life. As you go, you face challenges, challenges, and you have to adapt and change strategy. to maintain and get there. But in all of that, where can you find happiness? Happiness can only be found through God. And what is happiness? It is a systematic approach in which one derive God purpose in his life and follow that purpose in faith. Let me repeat again. Happiness is a systematic approach in which one derive God purpose in their life and follow that purpose in faith. And follow that purpose in faith. It means you can only connect with God in faith. Not in visualization, not in approximation of matter to matter. Because it's not from the same dimension as you are. When you have dimensionality differences, it is not anymore the law of physics cannot explain thing anymore. It becomes faith. Faith is the only thing that can explain it. Because you have no common denominator here. Even if we do, it's not found yet in our level. So you have to believe in that purpose, follow that purpose in faith, and follow God's guidance, and God will guide you to get it through the darkness moment of your life, so that you can reduce frustration and sin and come out as a victor. I do hope that this presentation reach a more higher audience, so that people can realize that this life is an illusion. By the time you're born to the time you exit is like a lapse of a second. For example, I wanted to ask you to remember when you were 5 years old. It was like yesterday. That's how time is. Don't think it will be different when you will be 90. It will be the same thing. The reason why some people are so sad when they get old is because when they remember that it's like it was yesterday, and they don't understand how they end up there like that. And they still think that they're young. That is the concept you have to learn, and you only learn it when you connect to God. It is an illusion. Because they can't understand the process. Time is an illusion. See, somebody's there. He have a responsibility. It's given to him. You're like, okay, I have time. As time go, he end up already more than that time, and still say, oh, I didn't even finish what I think I do. I promised to finish, and I want to add more time. Because time become an illusion. You can be there for 30 years and look back, it's like you did only 3 years. The way God made time is a phenomenon that is above our comprehensions. And how do that relate to our consciousness and our subconscious? Or related to the consciousness of our conscience and the consciousness of our subconscious? And how both consciousness interact? Obviously, the natural consciousness is driven by the spiritual consciousness. For those who understand the alpha, beta, delta, and theta wave mechanism. Those are the things people must know. Your God is closer than you think. The heaven moves in a flash. Is closer to this earth than men ever think. Time is the solutions. Time is the reference. In time, we will see all that was wrong, all that were wrong. In time, we will see things that were right. In time, we will see all that were done right. And we're also going to see that in time, things that were done wrong. That's the reason why we can go back 2,000 years and say wrong was done to Jesus Christ. But if you go back to that time, if God take you and bring you back to that time, that's why I say go watch the movie Reason. It was a reality like the reality that you're dealing with today, that people are going to be assessing 2,000 years from now and say that was wrong. It was the same reality. People were dealing with facts. Don't think that they were stupid. They were not. They were just dealing with facts and reality of the generations. Like I remember Ponce Pilate when the Tribune said they called him the Messiah, the Son of Yahweh. Ponce Pilate said, a poor, dirty, freaking man. Why do God choose such a man? Because those were the facts and the reality, and it still apply into our today generations, where people judge based on appearance. God cannot possibly choose that person because he's not the higher class. We told you that the way our world is structured today is the way God wanted it to be structured. What makes you think that that's true? It might be satanic structure, but it's actually true because God said, I'm giving you authority to govern yourself. You're the one who live in earth. Go and govern the animal and the plant and everything. So I let you make the decision. I'm behind the scene to make sure that you guys don't mix up my overall picture. You never see when somebody go out of the bound, they slap him a little bit and put him back. That's how God do. So we can be dealing with satanic structure and thinking that's God's structure. The heaven is close. It's closer to you. The only thing you gotta do is to pray. You see the manifest of it. You have to pray without waiting for anything. But you have to pray in faith that anything is there. Anything and everything is there. Don't pray to see everything, but pray with a premise that everything is already there. So you don't even have to see it. It is called true faith. Let me repeat again. Don't pray to see things that are unseen with the naked eyes. But pray with the premise that everything is already in place. There, surrounding you. Because it is the truth. They are there. They are only silent because of dimensionality difference. But for those who know how to communicate, they can see them, communicate with them, and hear what they have to say. So I am asking people, as a new word, global consulting and spiritual, global health and spiritual consulting, that my company start launching. I can consult with any higher being in this earth. I can challenge any theologies, any religions, give advice to presidents, leaders, prime minister, all those people. I can talk to them because I know the truth. I know now that my prayer can have an effect on somebody's life. I know that for sure. I don't know. Even if you're president or you are whatever position that you have in this earth, I pray for you, it will go through. You don't have to know God. You don't have to be in good relationship with God. And that's the purpose of me walking in faith. Because when God will answer that prayer, you will be transformed because of that transformations. Because of that answer. Because of that change that will occur in your life. And people are going to still asking, why do God don't help you? Jesus Christ have what? I can assure you, you have more money than Jesus Christ. You have a bank account. He didn't have none. Or there was no bank at that time. No, there were. People have account. You don't want to see people talking about thousands of some money if they didn't know where to park it. So if I do what I do, because it's the gift I have. And what else? If I have that, I can possibly have anything else. So I'm asking people to cry me out. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe too much in churches. I go to church and I encourage people to go to church. But personally, it is something I prefer to be invited to speak. Because I'm getting my information directly from the Holy Spirit. I don't need any more teaching. Pretty much I passed that level. But what I'm open to do is open to discussions because I don't have the monopoly of knowledge, so I can learn from others. Why do I say that? People are gonna say, you say that the Holy Spirit is everything, right? But why you wanted to listen to other people? Because God gave us different gifts. And if you know God, you're gonna understand that God respects every single personal gift. Because there's something to learn from it. That's why I respect people gift, because it was given to them by God. And God don't waste his time and gift. The best way to learn about somebody else's gift is not through God, it is through that person. So you can go and visit my website at www.NGOHMadeFounded. Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Google Plus, MySpace as well, I believe, and Twitter, Instagram, and any other social media out there. For that, shalom, shalom, I want to say it. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you guys will take these considerations. Do not seek for Jesus Christ and God at the end or when you have problems. It must be 24 hours. I just want to emphasize that. That teaching that we're telling you, no life completion without the spiritual dimension. You got to go to the process of sanctifications, justifications, after being found righteous in the eyes of God and being lifted up. Then you have finalized the process of salvation. But if you don't deny yourself, it means your flesh, and accept the will of the Spirit, salvation is impossible. Period. Because sanctification would not be possible. This is a logical truth. If you don't deny yourself and accept the will of the Spirit, I'm interpreting what God said. There's no human completion without spiritual dimension. He knows I have the brain to interpret. If you don't reject the will of the flesh and accept the will of the Spirit, salvation will be impossible for you. Because the process of sanctification will be nullified. What is sanctification? Is to allow God to work through you by removing what is wrong and implement what is good for you. And that only goes to painful decision. You say to God, I love banana. God gonna say banana is not good for you right now. I want you to have apple. And he knows that you hate apple. But he knows that that is good for you the way he made you. But because you're in the flesh, you just love banana. That's the challenge all of us in this earth face. God, why not you make these people think the way I think? God said, well, if you don't learn from them, how will you be transformed? If everybody think like you do, there's no transformation. It means that you God. Work it out. It's a difficult thing to deal with in this earth. You like banana. God said, no, I want you to have apple. But because of your flesh, you just love banana. And God knows banana is not good for you. And that's the problem you have. I repeat again. So if you don't reject the will of the flesh and accept the will of the Spirit, salvation, it is an unfinished business for you. It will not be possible because you are nullifying the sanctification step within the salvation algorithm, protocol, or mechanism. I call it like that. I just advise you to start praying out of the blue. You say anything you want. Say anything you want in prayer. God will help you. I was watching that movie yesterday and I keep saying, if Jesus Christ was alive today, he would be walking with people in strip club, with prostitutes. He'll be walking with them because he didn't come in this earth to transform those who already know the path. He came here to save the unsaved. I was watching that movie yesterday and the general went to a camp where you have army camp and they say, who know Mary Magdalene? Everybody raised their arm. It was to tell her she was a prostitute, but she was closer to Jesus Christ at the end. Why do Jesus Christ walk with a woman like that? People will say, that's not the man of God. But because they didn't understand his purpose. He was not here to save those that are already saved. He was here to save those that need to be saved. Because we understand, people end up in situations in life. When I was talking about parameter, add up in your life. You end up in situations you can explain. But when you have love, that you give love to people, you embrace people with love, you understand the problems. Education and knowledge is a tool, very powerful. And I want people to search and search, read and visualize, analyze, and have irrational conclusions. I went to strip club. God never leave me because I go there. And I say that to you. It's not about where your eyes is. It's about where your heart is. It's something I want you to know. It's not about where your eyes is. It's where your heart is. If you are pure in your heart, the heaven don't care about your surrounding. Because if your surrounding cannot affect you, your true self, it means that you have grown in the spirit. You have to know what is the good in people, not the appearance. I suggest that you guys go and watch that movie. It is something else. It is that general who wrote his story and he got lost into the mix in time, and somebody find it, people find it, the story he wrote, and that can only be the truth. And Jesus Christ told me 99% it is. After I went to watch it, not before I went to watch it. I am not making money out of that, making promotion for that movie. I just want people to see what is necessary for them in the time in which they will be exiting this earth. I cannot avoid the end, my friend. I mean, somebody can tell you cannot avoid the end. Can you avoid the end? The end is Jesus Christ. Why not deal with him now? Why wait? Deal with him now. I mean, just even if you don't want to listen his name, do your best. You're going to deal with him at the end, and I just don't want your soul to go into the lake of fire. That place exists, my friend. Even if you don't like to listen, do your best. Just force yourself into it. Because that is the end. You're going to go through it. You want it or not. That's my logic. I know I can avoid the end. Why not deal with it now? That is the question I'm letting you to make your own decision. As a human being, you're going to go to that end in which your path and your eternal destiny will be decided by either you knew Jesus Christ or not. Doesn't matter what religion you're in. Same standard. Thank you very much. This is Gabriel and Daikon of the Conflict Global Consulting for health and spiritual consultations. Thank you for your time, and I hope you visit my website at www.angelhmedfunded.org. To get more info, you can go on my YouTube as well. Thank you for your time. From Cincinnati to Washington DC to Yaoundé to Paris into London. Hasta la vista. À bientôt. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. And I'll see you next time. Well, guys,